The starship Elysium hummed softly as it drifted through the void, its engines idling in the silence of deep space. I sat in the dimly lit medbay, my hands trembling as I stared at the alien woman kneeling before me. Her emerald skin glistened under the sterile white lights, and her golden eyes bore into mine with an intensity that made my heart race. In her hands, she held a small vial of iridescent oil, its surface shimmering like liquid starlight. "Rub it on me," she said, her voice a melodic whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "Unless you want to be a father." I blinked, my mind struggling to process her words. "Wait, what?" She tilted her head, her expression a mix of amusement and impatience. "You heard me, human. This oil is the only thing that will neutralize the pheromones I've released. If you don't apply it to my skin within the next 10 minutes, the bond will be irreversible, and you'll be tied to me for life." Literally. I stared at her, my mouth hanging open. What kind of alien nonsense is this? She sighed, her shoulders slumping. "It's not nonsense. It's biology. My species, the Zenari, form lifelong bonds through pheromonal exchange. When I saved your life back on that derelict freighter, my body released the bonding pheromones as a survival instinct. Now, unless you want to spend the rest of your life as my mate, you need to rub this oil on me. Quickly." I ran a hand through my hair, trying to make sense of the situation. "Okay, let me get this straight. You're telling me that because you saved my life, your body decided we're soulmates, and now I have to rub oil on you? Or else I'm stuck with you forever." "Yes," she said simply, as if this were the most logical thing in the universe. I groaned, leaning back in my chair. "This is insane. I didn't sign up for this." Her golden eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of hurt in them. "You're welcome, by the way, for saving your life." I winced, feeling a pang of guilt. She had saved me after all. When the freighter's oxygen systems had failed, she'd risked her own life to drag me to safety. I owed her, even if her biology was complicated. "Fine," I muttered, grabbing the vial from her hands. "But if this turns out to be some kind of prank, I'm throwing you out the airlock." She smirked, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Noted." I uncorked the vial, the scent of the oil hitting me like a wave. It was sweet and earthy, with a hint of something I couldn't quite place. I poured a small amount into my palm, the liquid cool against my skin. "Where do I, apply this?" I asked, suddenly feeling awkward. She turned her back to me, pulling her long, silvery hair over one shoulder. "Start here," she said, gesturing to the base of her neck, "and work your way down." I hesitated for a moment, then gently pressed my palm to her skin. She shivered at the contact, a soft sigh escaping her lips. Her skin was surprisingly warm, and as I began to massage the oil into her back, I couldn't help but notice how smooth it was, like polished stone. "You're doing it wrong," she said, her voice tinged with amusement. I frowned. "What do you mean?" "I'm rubbing it in, aren't I?" "You're being too gentle. The oil needs to be worked into the skin thoroughly, or it won't neutralize the pheromones." I rolled my eyes but increased the pressure, my hands moving in slow, deliberate circles. She let out a low hum of approval, her body relaxing under my touch. "Better," she murmured. As I continued, I found myself growing more and more aware of her presence. The way her breath hitched when my fingers brushed a particularly sensitive spot, the way her muscles tensed and relaxed under my hands. It was intoxicating. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts. This was just a medical procedure, nothing more. "You're doing well," she said, her voice soft. "Almost done." I nodded, my hands moving lower, down to the small of her back. Her skin was hot now, the oil glistening as it absorbed into her emerald flesh. I could feel the tension in her body melting away, replaced by a languid warmth. "There," I said, pulling my hands away. "That should do it." She turned to face me, her golden eyes glowing in the dim light. "Thank you," she said, her voice sincere. "You have no idea how much this means to me." I shrugged, trying to play it cool. "Yeah, well, don't mention it. Just try to keep your pheromones to yourself next time, okay?" She laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "I'll do my best." For a moment we just sat there, the silence between us comfortable and warm. Then she reached out, her hand brushing against mine. "You know," she said, her voice soft, "not all bonds are formed through biology. Sometimes, they're formed through choice." I looked at her, my heart pounding in my chest. "What are you saying?" She smiled, her golden eyes shining with something I couldn't quite name. "I'm saying that even though the pheromones are gone, the bond we formed, it's still there. And I'd like to see where it leads." I stared at her, my mind racing. This was crazy. She was an alien, for crying out loud. We came from different worlds, different species. And yet, there was something about her that drew me in, something I couldn't ignore. "You're serious?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She nodded, her expression earnest. "I am." I took a deep breath, then let it out slowly. "Okay," I said, a small smile tugging at the corners of my lips. "Let's see where this goes." Her smile widened, and for the first time since I'd met her, I felt a sense of peace. Maybe this wasn't so crazy after all. Epilogue. Months passed, and the bond between us grew stronger with each passing day. We traveled the stars together, exploring new worlds and facing challenges that tested our resolve. Through it all, she remained by my side, her unwavering loyalty and fierce determination a constant source of strength. And as I stood on the observation deck of the Elysium, watching the stars streak by in a blur of light, I realized that she was right. Not all bonds are formed through biology. Some are formed through choice, through trust, through love. I turned to her, my heart swelling with emotion. "Thank you," I said, my voice thick with gratitude, "for choosing me." She smiled, her golden eyes shining with warmth. "Thank you for choosing me too." And as we stood there, hand in hand, I knew that no matter where the stars took us, we would always have each other. And that was enough.